Daniel, Dan. Yeah. Thank you. I'm done. Thank you. I have two, and I. Okay. Let me get my script together. All right. Y'all, you ruined my thunder. I call this meeting to order. Are there any students to speak out tonight? All right, seeing none, we can move on to announcements. Are there any announcements for the body tonight? Yes.
I won't take much time. I just wanted to first speak from the student's perspective on something. I believe that we hear it too much from our advisors and leadership and not from our body enough about how amazing the job it is that we're doing. We don't often get to see the benefits to what we're doing as the student body, as the Senate body, and it's an honor to be able to sometimes witness what exactly it is that Senate is able to do. And I think each and every one of us should be able to pat ourselves on the back because it is quite phenomenal, the stuff that we've been able to do and are continuing to do. And tonight and every meeting, it seems that new and innovative ideas are happening. And this has honestly been a great honor to be able to be a part of. And I think that we've had one of the most phenomenal teams in previous years, and we have done some amazing work this year.
Thank you for your announcement. Any other announcements? Okay, we can move along. It is my pleasure to introduce Anne Brandon from the Office of Health Promotions to speak with us today. Thank you.
I'm super excited to be with the most phenomenal student senate of the most phenomenal university.
Period.
Give yourself another hand.
Yeah.
I don't think this is on. Is it on?
That's to help the people online hear you.
Hi, there's people online. You are phenomenal as well. I'm going to put this over here. So I'm going to tell you all about me in just 1 second. I'm going to flip the screen here, and hopefully it pops up. You are going to need to use your phones. Those online, this survey will not work for you because it needs to be people in this space. So I'm going to ask you all, again, it's only going to take 40 responses. So the first 40 people who can get on here, if you all can see this, and you can't see it yet, a QR code. It has not flipped over yet. Sorry. You're like, what are we looking at, Ann?
Escape the presentation.
We might have to do
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It was on there earlier, so let's do this again. If not, we'll use your slideshow. Yeah, we were here 20 minutes early fixing this up. Come on. 13 minutes? 11 minutes? Okay, you were right. Technology wasn't working. We can do the slideshow that's in the PowerPoint. Okay, perfect. So the poll I was going to do was going to bring some of the subject matter into the space. My name is Ann Brandon. I work at the Office of Health Promotion. The things that we focus on here are violence prevention, specifically sexual violence, sexual harassment, stalking, dating violence. We also work on mental health conversations. Does anyone have or a green bandana from Bandana Project, right? So we work on mental health, we work on violence prevention, we work on alcohol and other drugs, and we are now expanding our sexual health work. So we're working in these realms, but the thing I'm coming here to talk to you about is Green Dot. How many of you have been through a Green Dot presentation already? Nate, I know you, right? Right? This is 15 minutes of a 90-minute overview for students who hold influence on this campus. But also we talk to staff members. So the President's Council has been Green Dot trained. 3 fraternities have been Green Dot trained. The Dean of Students office has been Green Dot trained. All of DOSA staff has been Green Dot trained. This is not just for students. This is a whole collective movement to say that we can actually stop power-based personal violence on our campus. And what it is very, very simple. My presentation isn't up there.
If you click the button on the
Yes! Here's a very quick overview. Why is it called Green Dot? 20 to 25% of any student on any campus, all the population, mainly res life, on any campus across the nation, 20 to 25% will be directly affected by power-based personal violence. You might be thinking, that number doesn't make any difference to me, and that's why my anonymous poll was actually really important, because you could click and say, I know someone who's been harmed, and then it would actually show you all of the folks in here who know someone, which I've never seen less than 98%, because we just did it yesterday, right? And then I've never seen anything lower than 25% when we ask the question of, have you been directly impacted, right? So the idea is, on our campus, and on all campuses across the United States, and in our communities, this isn't just a campus issue, that those numbers, and think of our campus population, that's 5,000 people that we know have been directly harmed. 5,000 of you. That number is not, that literal number cannot happen anymore. And I really think you'll be the first generation to decrease that number. But we gotta know what to do. Red dots are those acts of harm that someone chooses to do that contributes to that 25%. So if we think of green dots, we know that these red dots are happening on our campus. They look like that. The moment it takes to hit someone, the moment it takes, like if somebody chooses to have sex with someone without their consent. But there's something we can do. Pretty simple, right? Anyone? Anyone? Hey, you are the most fabulous group. It's a green dot. A green dot is a moment that you decide that we can be the first generation to decrease harm on our campus. The moment you say, I can do something to stop this, because we see it everywhere. I see it at the grocery store. Like if somebody's harmful to their child, that's child abuse, they're grabbing their arm. It's not something that's easy though. So you might think, Ann, we've been through bystander intervention before. That's why this is different. Green dots are things that we do, choices that we make, that can decrease the number of people that are harmed. Why do you think I have so much hope though? You're like, I don't know. Because it's been a long time since we've had violence happening in our community. I'm hopeful because in 2008, I was part of the original Green Dot research that said, hey, if you teach someone the skills and overcome the barriers of stepping in, then you're going to be most likely to decrease harm in those spaces. And it started out at the University of Kentucky. And I was part of implementing and reshaping that and implementing it in 13 high schools. So 26,000 students were part of a 5-year CDC research. And when we implemented it in high school, the 13 schools that got Green Dot decreased the perpetration of violence by 50%. If high school students can do it, can we do it? Hell yes. But it's going to take more than 15 minutes. It's going to take each one of you, because we start with popular opinion leaders, we start with influential students, and we get your groups trained so that you feel comfortable going out and actually putting green dots on the map. So this is not a green dot training, y'all. You gotta hook a girl up and connect us with the people that you know. That's why I'm here. I also want to tell you that green dot swag, green dot things like stickers, t-shirts, we're going to have an all-out kind of like green dot, like united marketing front. And so you'll see this everywhere, but you'll be leading the efforts. So I will need you to connect with us. These green dots are things where you're checking in with someone, see if they're okay. You're gonna realize more at parties, and you're gonna see more things happening. If you have like this hour training, you're gonna be like, oh, that's that thing, and this is what I can do. So it gives you tools. It just doesn't tell you to go be a bystander. Very easy. When there's more green dots, you decrease the red dots, and you stop harm happening on this campus, because violence is an epidemic. 20 to 25% of you are harmed by it. And it's just normalized. Should it be normal anymore? Nah. Let's do something about it. Proactive green dots are the t-shirts. It's the things that you do that tell you, like, hey, this matters to me. Like, we are all on board. If a new student came into Student Senate, how would they know that green dot means something to you? How do you know that you care about reducing harm on your campus? And that's a proactive green dot. It resets the norm. It does not normalize violence anymore. That's what it does. It says, in my space, things are going to change. And then here's what you can do. Right now, follow our Insta. Because we're going to have a contest and somebody's going to win some free stuff tomorrow. Right? So if you follow it, you can get your phone out. Ohio_HP. Like, you can do that. Follow us. We'll pick somebody. You'll get a free t-shirt or you get some free stuff. Have us in your spaces. 3 fraternities. The hockey team is trained. President's trained. Come in wherever you are, and we will come do a training. It's an hour. Give us an hour of your time. Any questions? I know y'all might have a long night, because I've heard that like 3 times. This is going to be a long night. Questions?
No. All right. Yes.
So first of all,
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
For all of this work. I know that we worked before
Right.
on this, and this is something I'm very excited to see more rolling out with.
Yeah.
Can you go a little bit more in depth on how you would like students to be involved and what we as leaders can do to further influence and promote this program on campus?
First of all,
Before you answer that question, I will just like to let everyone know we have 10 minutes. We have a really long meeting tonight, but I want to make sure everyone gets their questions answered. Questions, yeah.
Office of Health Promotion, go on the site, click green dot, request a program, because you're not ready. I mean, this is 15 minutes, it's an hour. So that's first thing. If you follow our Instagram, things like that, we'll have like opportunities. But if you also, to be honest, get involved, we talk about, I'm just being honest, I'm just going to speak this right now. To decrease perpetration, it's not going to be just buying a trinket to stop sexual violence. Do you get me? It's kind of an insult for people who have experienced sexual violence to be in charge of their own harm. Don't give money to folks and companies that can burn out in about a month or a year based on your fear. Be trained. That's the thing that we need. Get trained, help us buy swag, help us influence others. And I want to respect your time.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Office of Health Promotion, click on the link, request Green Dot.
So I'm kind of curious about maybe some of the other programming that the Office of Health Promotions is doing, particularly around kind of the mental health awareness. I know we have the green bandanas that are around a lot. I have one myself, as well as like sexual health programming. I know they used to have Power Gamma,
Yes.
but that doesn't quite exist in the
Yes.
same way anymore. So I'm just kind of curious if you could talk a little bit about what those programs look like.
3 things. We just hired student staff because previously it was all volunteer. So we've hired them at the highest rate. We have a new peer health educator model rolling out. They actually start on Monday. 6 new peer educators. We just rolled out a survey asking people about how or what they would like to learn about sexual health. So we're now collecting data to figure out how best to serve the needs of students in sexual health. Mental health wise, those peers also will be trained, and then we will connect people with coaching as well. So there's peer coaching. I don't know if you know of the peer coaches. So we can be a conduit to that. And then we can also, with these peer educators, help shape full programming for mental health awareness. We are not response. So we are not people that respond to it, but we also have Bobcats Who Care training, Recovery Allies training that we can help with, and any type of mental health first aid training you can ask us about. We have some resources.
Thank you. Any
Thank
other-
you. I know I went above my time. I was
Oh.
like, you got Ann Brandon at 15 minutes. This is going to be tight.
No, you're totally good. I just want to make sure if anyone has any questions, they can ask. Yeah.
Sure. So like healthy boundaries? Okay. So one green dot can be used for other things too, like microaggressions or if a friend is drinking too much. So when we think of green dot, the evidence is based towards power-based personal violence, but you can use the same skill set as a bystander, but green dot is focused on potential bystander lens. So somebody's going to step up and be like, you're in that person's space. We also do healthy relationship and boundaries too. But this is more focused on people who don't harm, right? So it's more based on a bystander lens, what we can do as bystanders and what we see. People should be seen more often when someone is in someone's personal space. But realize that these bystander tools, and again, it's not just do this thing, it is why we don't do it as well. That we can be focused on more things like microaggressions, healthy boundaries, noticing more when someone's in somebody else's space. 15 minutes in clay.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I don't know where it is. Will the Chief of Staff please call roll?
President Shoulders,
Present.
Vice President Cooley,
Present.
Treasurer Robinson,
President.
Commissioner DeMonte, Senator Handel, Senator Core, Senator Phelps, Senator Thomas, Commissioner Barganer,
Present.
Senator McMullen, Commissioner Hibbs, Commissioner Gordillo, Senator Lopez, Commissioner Gillette,
Here.
Senator Bacasio, Senator Radbeth, Commissioner Parker, Senator Lightning, Senator Morris,
Present.
Senator Ayurinde, Commissioner Zarbaugh, Senator Robinson, Commissioner Lewis, Senator Tandon, Senator Farmer, Senator Davis,
Present.
Commissioner Handle, Senator Spinner Smith, Senator Huntsman, Senator Wolf, Commissioner Ajay, Executive Justice Siler.
Present.
We have quorum.
Thank you. All right. Is there any discussion on the previous meeting minutes? Are there any objections to approving the previous meeting minutes? All right, seeing none, minutes are approved. There are no additions to the agenda, and there is no old business. Okay. First up, we have Senate Resolution 2223-91, a resolution to appoint a director of social media to the executive staff. Whereas there is a student senate at Ohio University, and whereas the rules and procedures states that there shall be a director of social media within the student senate, and whereas there is currently a vacancy in the director of social media position, and whereas applications were solicited and interviews conducted, be it resolved that Virginia Dickens be appointed as the director of social media for the 2022-2023 academic year, and be it further resolved that this appointment be effective immediately following the adjournment of tonight's meeting. Primary sponsor, Ms. Carson Sarver.
All right, so I had the absolute pleasure to interview Virginia, and I just want to say she is awesome. The work that she had done in her position previously was absolutely incredible, and during her interview, she actually had a really, really cool idea that I'm super excited to implement throughout the rest of this year and then further on as the years go on, and I have complete full faith in Virginia and what she's going to do within this position.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Ms. Dana Shoulders. So yes, I also had the pleasure of interviewing Virginia for this position. I'm really excited that she has decided to join our PR team. It's another person for Carson to work with, especially as we approach our town hall coming up soon. Although I am sad to miss her as a fine arts senator, but I'm really excited for her to bring those skills to that team, and I reserve the balance of time. Is there any discussion on this resolution? It has been moved and seconded to vote on Senate Resolution 2223-91. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Resolution passes. Senate Bill 2223-03, a bill in support of providing free period products in all bathrooms across Ohio University. Whereas the Ohio University Student Senate is governing body of the university, and whereas this body is currently responsible for purchasing period products to be provided for students freely and accessibly, and whereas approximately 60% of students at Ohio University menstruate, and whereas according to Aunt Flo, 86% of women reported starting their period in public without the supplies they needed, and whereas 1 in 5 menstruating students have missed school because of a lack of period supplies and resources. And whereas nearly 66% of students who menstruate have felt anxious about lack of access to period products. And whereas providing students with free and accessible period products can increase school attendance by 2.4%. And whereas a survey done in 2017 by Ohio University Student Senate showed that 600 individuals, 2/3, said that lack of access to period products adversely affected their performance in school or work. And whereas 1 in 10 college students in the United States experience period poverty or a lack of access to menstrual products when they need them. And whereas a research team at Ohio State conducted a national student financial wellness study, and whereas 7 out of 10 students feel stressed about their personal finances, and nearly 6 out of 10 students say they worry about having enough money to pay for school. And whereas 32% of students reported neglecting their studies at least sometimes because of the money they owed, and whereas on average, a menstruator spends $13.25 each month on period products, totaling about $6,360 in their reproductive lifetime. And whereas this cost can be an additional burden for vulnerable and low-income students. And whereas period products are a healthcare necessity as well as a serious and ongoing need for students. And whereas Ohio University is campaigning to make respect visible, and whereas according to the Merriam-Webster, respect refers to recognizing the worth of a person or thing. And whereas, according to a survey by the Thinks and Period, a lack of access to period products contribute to increased stigma around menstruation. And whereas 58% of women have felt embarrassed simply due to the fact that they were menstruating, and 42% of women have experienced period shaming. And whereas providing these products across campus would show respect towards those with bodies that menstruate. And whereas toilet paper is offered for free across all buildings on campus. And whereas Ohio University Student Senate has already partnered with Aunt Flo to have these products available for students. And whereas, as of right now, only women's bathrooms in Baker University Center and Alden's second and fourth floors provide access to these period products. And whereas periods do not only begin or occur in these two buildings. And whereas there are around 13,200 menstruators that attend Ohio University, distributed through buildings across all campus. And whereas it has been difficult to maintain a sufficient amount of period products in the new bathrooms they are provided in. And whereas dispensers are needing to be refilled 3 times a week to supply students with period products. And whereas period products are not provided in any gender inclusive or men's bathrooms on campus. And whereas Commissioner Handel and the Ohio University Student Senate's Women's Affairs Commission have received 21 emails from students, faculty, and alumni in the week following Clara Coder's appearance at Ohio University. And whereas feedback has shown that this program has been instrumental in providing period products for menstruators that do not have the necessary resources at their disposal. And whereas menstruating is not a gendered issue. And whereas between academic, athletic, and dormitory buildings, Ohio University houses 1,285 public bathrooms, be it resolved that Ohio University expand providing period products to all bathrooms on campus, and be it resolved that Ohio University Student Senate suggests Ohio University become financially responsible for providing period products for all their menstruating students, and be it resolved this legislation be sent to the Office of the President, Kathy Fall, Dean of Students, Chad Barnhart, Assistant Dean of Students, Dr. Lynn Readington, Interim Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Elizabeth Sayers, Provost, Mark Heil, Vice President of Finance and Administration and Chief Financial Officer, Dr. Salome Noramelli, Interim Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion, Dr. Dwayne Bruce, Executive Director of Diversity and Inclusion, Muriel Meyer, Basic Needs Coordinator, Janine Hacker, Executive Director of Housing and Residence Life, Dr. Winsome Chunu, Senior Director for Diversity Education Initiatives and Interim Director of the Multicultural Center, Dr. Chris Fowler, Director of the Women's Center, Dr. Micah McCary, Director of the LGBT Center and Interim Director of the Office of Multicultural Success and Retention, Steve Mack, Director of Facilities Management, Troy Bonte, Interim Associate Vice President for Facilities Management, Faculty Senate, and Graduate Student Senate. Primary sponsor, Ms. Megan Handel.
I feel like I got market with the stands.
Go for it.
Hi, my name is Megan Handel, and I'm a junior studying social work in the Augusta Truett College, and I serve as the Women Affairs Commissioner for Student Senate. Today, we are supporting that the school adopts and funds free period products in all bathrooms across campus. While it's very clear that this is something that I'm passionate about and I'm comfortable speaking about, there are many co-sponsors to this bill that will advocate for this imperative issue. Periods are something that are considered taboo and an uncomfortable subject. However, 43 of my peers have taken time out of their day to be here to speak on their experiences with bleeding, needing products, and why this is important to them in front of total strangers. While some people sponsoring could not make it tonight due to our crazy schedules as students, they still took the time to write statements of their support. Most of the people in this room have heard me talk about this project for what feels like forever, so I reserved the balance of my time to hear from those who do not as often have the opportunity.
Thank you. Secondary sponsors, Ms. Madeline Blair.
Hello all, my name is Madeline and I am a sophomore studying journalism, and I serve as the Women's Affairs Vice Commissioner for Student Senate. I am passionate about this bill passing because any student who experiences menstruation deserves free and easily accessible menstruating products at their disposal. In the most recent COVID-19 pandemic, there was a tampon shortage. Because of this, some stores and pharmacies are still experiencing a lack of tampons, where they encourage buyers to only get a certain quantity of tampons. Keeping this in mind, many students are reliant on free menstruating products in public restrooms. Given the difficulty of obtaining menstruating products in stores and it's already being high prices, students should have the ability to go into any bathroom on campus and get free menstruating products. I fully believe that in today's society, those who menstruate should not have to continuously worry if they will be able to have the products necessary for themselves, especially for students at Ohio University. It is essential that students are equipped with numerous options on campus to receive stocked and free menstruating products. Students already have to worry about enough in their day-to-day lives. If the university can at least supply all restrooms on campus with menstruating products for students' bodily functions, it could begin to ease worries of stress, of financial issues, and of embarrassment. Overall, this campus will see an increase of academic and personal success as well as an increase in mental health. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy Huntsman.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kennedy Huntsman, and I am the Women's Affairs Senator. I'm sure we're all here tonight because we can acknowledge the fact that as a society, we create spaces of inaccessibility and intolerability based on gender and biological sex in numerous ways. However, one of the most notable is menstruation. Not only is it largely demonized in our culture, women and those who menstruate are also charged for products that will aid them along the duration of their period, thus already creating a socioeconomic barrier. We are capitalizing on a bodily function that over half of the population endures and creating spaces in which individuals are unable to even speak on their menstruation experiences and advocate for better practices. Despite these practices preventing individuals from readily accessing menstruation products, most spaces, including educational and professional settings, are not accepting of free bleeding practices, nor are they providing accessibility to these products and resources. In this lack of biological consideration, we are creating a glass ceiling of menstruation, complicating the accessibility of women and those that undergo periods from spaces that refuse to accommodate them. In the words of period advocate Nikki Tarjiri, I can imagine a world where periods are loved, where we eagerly anticipate the ideas and inspiration gathered from them, where we expect the break like a weekend retreat or an annual vacation, where we talk about them with affection and warmth, where we set up our world to accommodate and support them. I can imagine a world where it feels good to bleed. I hope that we can create this world at Ohio University. Thank you for your consideration. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Emerson Wolf.
Okay, so I'm going to be reading a statement from Dr. Judy Welsh of the Cleveland Clinic, who I had the pleasure of interning with last year. Okay. Dear Student Senate, thank you for considering making purity products free and easily accessible to all menstruating people at Ohio University. Period equity matters because it's a fact of life. Many of us who menstruate have had this happen. Your period just randomly appears, you search your bag and hope that you happen to bring a tampon or a pad. You feel vulnerable and anxious. What if you mess up your clothes? Given the taboo around menstruation, a blood stain on your pants would be humiliating. For menstruating people living in poverty, this circumstance could be even worse. One study in obstetrics and gynecology showed that 64% of their survey respondents had problems affording pads, tampons, or menstrual cups, and 21% could not afford what they needed every month. Menstrual hygiene products are necessary, and yet food stamps and WIC programs do not cover these critical needs. When people extend the use of these products by using them beyond their expected lifespan, they can compromise their health. Toxic shock syndrome is an illness that occurs when a tampon is left in too long and bacteria releases toxins into the bloodstream. Among many severe symptoms, the skin peels off in sheets like a sunburn, and patients develop a high fever and flu-like illness. Even with aggressive treatment, the mortality rate from toxic shock is 30 to 70%. Making pads and tampons free of charge not only reduces the risk of illness, but also allows menstruating people to attend school or go to work without fear. It's a fundamental human right and should be subsidized. As leaders and social justice advocates, we are responsible for correcting injustice where we see it happen, and this is one injustice that humanity cannot afford. Very yours truly, Judith Tosky Welsh, MD, Associate Chief Experience Officer of the Cleveland Clinic, Assistant Professor of Medicine, Assistant Professor of Pediatric Emergency Medicine at Ohio University.
Thank you. Ms. Chanel Spinner-Smith.
Hi, my name is Chanel Spinner-Smith. I am a senator on the Women's Affairs Commission. This bill has been in the works for a long time, and I have seen Megan work day and night just making sure everything is great. So I would love to second on it. And working at Alden, I have seen a lot, and I've seen the massive shortness with the menstrual products. And I just want to be here for the support. That's all to say. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Faith Merkel.
Hi, I'm Faith Merkel. I'm a junior majoring in public health. Although I could stand here and discuss period products from a public health perspective, I feel like a story does the situation more justice. I apologize to those who feel uncomfortable regarding periods, as you might view this story a little bit graphic, but let's keep in mind over half this campus bleeds, and the majority of people in this room also bleed. So yesterday, and I kid you not, this was yesterday, I went shopping just to run a few errands. I didn't take a purse because I thought it was only going to take a few hours, which it did. But I'm standing in the store and I get the feeling. Now, people who menstruate, you know this feeling. You get the feeling. Okay, well, I'm in the middle of Goodwill. I don't have a purse. I'm kind of screwed. So I drove my car back to campus, and I live on Court Street, but my car is parked at the bottom of Jeff Hill. So this means that I had a long trek past multiple academic buildings where I was bleeding through my pants and no products were provided. I walked past Jeff, I walked past the education building, I walked past the music building, I walked past the art building, I walked past Schoonover. None of those buildings had products for me, so I had to make the uncomfortable walk up Jeff Hill, bleeding through my pants. But this problem is not just me. Just this past weekend, me and Megan and Abby were at Founders Day, and I was in the 4th floor bathroom, which is arguably the most busy bathroom in Baker, and a student, or a potential student, and her mother were standing there talking about how she had just started her period and they didn't know where to get products on this campus. They're not from here. They don't have a means to get anywhere, and she only needs one to get through the day. We can't expect her to walk to CVS and spend $12 on a box of tampons when she just needs one. Like, with all those stories in mind, I think it's extremely important to put period products in all the bathrooms. Nobody should have to go through that uncomfortable situation, sitting through class or walking home or touring this university while bleeding through their pants, regardless of their gender. And that's what I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Owen Yates McEwen.
He cannot be here, but we do have a statement.
Hello, my name is Owen Yates McEwen. I'm a 4th year at Ohio University, and I'm a trans masculine person who has periods. I've been on testosterone for almost 5 years. I have facial hair, and more often than not, I pass as male. For these reasons, I use the men's restroom so as not to make women uncomfortable. However, I still get my period. It would be so helpful if the university put Amflow products in every bathroom. Most men wouldn't use them. However, it would be life-changing to the people like me. If the period products got any use at all, then having them in the bathrooms is making a positive change.
Thank you. Please, just a reminder to speak up so everyone in the room can hear you. Yeah. Miss Ashley Beach.
She had a family emergency, but it would take more than my hands and feet to count the times I've had to do a quick change in an Ohio University restroom on my way to work. As a journalist, interviews are placed in my day at random times, meaning I've always got to have a change of clothes. Sometimes when I stop to change clothes, I also have to deal with my period. A handful of times, I thought I didn't have a period product on me, but luckily found one buried in the bottom of my bag. There's a whole range of emotions that go through a person's head when they think they don't have a product. First, they panic. Next, they're afraid. And eventually, after texting and calling everyone you know, you find a way to resolve the issue, even if it means just using toilet paper, which is not good. I'll never forget I was covering a game at the Convo and my period started. I didn't have any products with me, and unfortunately, I was the only female press there. Even if there had been other female press, I have been embarrassed to ask them for something. That meant I had to wait almost an hour until I got home to get a product. Gross, right? Limited access to period products is a sad reality for a lot of people. It's embarrassing when you have to sit there and sit in your own blood because you don't have a product and you're stuck where you are. College students are constantly on the go, and sometimes the last thing they think about is, did I pick up a tampon? Ohio University can help alleviate the stress, embarrassment, and fear of students by placing products in its restrooms across campus. Currently in Baker Center, there are spaces for products in the women's restrooms, but they are never filled. OU has not been held accountable in providing these products like it advertises. I support the period bill because it's important. It would create a more comfortable environment at OU and would benefit most students. And I reserve the balance of Ashley's time.
Miss Jordan Frazier.
Also, Jordan could not be here, but there's a statement. My name is Jordan Frazier, and I'm a third-year art therapy student with a certificate in women's gender and sexuality studies. In the art department, those of us that are unfortunate enough are afforded the opportunity to call our endeavor the Tampon March. The lack of menstrual products within campus buildings are greatly affects the art department and the entirety of the university alike. Female students from all fields face an intensive disruption to our learning by having to leave class to search for these products, while other public spaces and universities are considerate enough to ensure that the environment is one where menstruating women can flourish without concern. Ohio University is supposed to be one of the most inclusive spaces found within the Appalachian region. So why is the institution failing the intelligent, strong female students who support and define it? The university's refusal to acknowledge a basic bodily function contributes to sexist beliefs that female students do not belong here. Lack of preparedness is not a valid argument to make against the female students, as many of us know that the menstrual cycle can be an unpredictable thing, especially for those with poor health. I speak on behalf of the female artists at OU when I assert that the Tampon March is a problem that needs to be fixed if the school wishes to show the true support for its students. The only item that women in this space should be marching toward is a degree. So let's do the right thing by ending the Tampon March. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Catherine Handel.
Hi, my name is Kate Handel, and I'm the Senator for the College of Health Science and Professions. I fully support this bill and all that it stands for, and I am very, very proud of the Women's Affairs Commission and all that they are doing. I think that college is already stressful enough without having to worry about bleeding through our pants when a period comes unexpectedly. As the senator for the CHSP, I know firsthand that a student with a STEM schedule is busy with all-day classes and 3-hour-long labs, allowing zero time to run back to a dorm or to the store to grab a tampon. Personally, when I'm on my period, I have to be aware of it and pack my bag knowing that I will be in class from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and that if I forget or run out, then I'm forced to either bleed through my pants or miss an important class to go find a product. It's unfair and demeaning. Having access to free period products in all bathrooms on campus would minimize these issues and others such as discomfort, stress, and embarrassment associated with menstruating and allow students to focus on greater things than their period. Menstrual products are not a luxury item, they're a necessity, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Catrone Arnold.
I'm Katrin now.
Katrin.
Hello, my name is Katrin Arnold, and I'm a junior social work major here at Ohio. I'm also representing the members of my sorority, Alpha Delta Pi, where I currently serve as the vice president. Last year, I lived in my sorority's house, which was chock full of roughly 35 women. I regularly heard anecdotes surrounding the embarrassing stigmas and inconvenience of periods. Somehow, the necessary products for something that affected 100% of the people with which I lived were not accessible in terms of cost and convenience. On behalf of these women and in honor of 50% of the people that I'm blessed to know, I'm proudly supporting this bill, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Mr. Arthur Bargner.
Hi, everyone. I fully agree with everything that was said before me. I think this issue is not only important to women on this campus, but also specifically Black women, since we as a black community are very small on this campus, and it's not, and black women are usually the people that are forgotten about the most. So I believe that this bill will not only further black women on this campus, but also create a space for them that they will feel safer at this university. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Isabel Alvarez.
Okay, so I'm Isabel right now. So, good evening, fellow students. My name is Isabel Alvarez. I'm a third-year student majoring in computer science, and I feel that stocking all Ohio University bathrooms consistently with period products is a necessary step in ensuring that students who menstruate can remain safe, healthy, and sanitary regardless of their financial situations or access to transportation. Updating policy to account for this would not only demonstrate a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, but would also benefit students academically by reducing the extra mental carga that students who menstruate experience daily when trying to keep track of resources related to period management. I urge you all to support this initiative and support all Bobcats on campus who menstruate. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Emily Zeiler.
Hi, my name is Emily Zeiler. As you guys all know, I am the Executive Justice for the Judicial Panel. Much like the people before me have said, I support this bill because access to period products is essential. Those who have what I tend to call the crimson wave did not request it, but yet every month typically there it is. Ohio University purchasing these products and supplying them in bathrooms will help ease the minds of those who sometimes do have to worry, but it's going to strike at the most unexpected times. The cost of menstrual products continues to rise as resources to make them, such as cotton, go into shortages, and it has also become increasingly more difficult trying to access these products that fly off the shelves soon after they are stocked. I don't know about y'all, but I can never find a cost-effective options in stock at both Kroger or Walmart. Additionally, I've had people come up to me embarrassed asking for a product because the bathrooms in Baker are out, which my camera roll right now is filled with all those pictures for you, Commissioner Handel. With financial support from the university, this will hopefully no longer be an issue. As Student Senate, we are here to represent students of this university, and Commissioner Handel is doing just that with this project. I urge you all to look at all the emails she has gotten in relation with this project and see what students outside of this body are saying and to vote yes for this bill. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Cora Finch.
Hello, I'm Cora Fitch. I am a third-year Media Arts and Studies student in the Honors Tutorial College. I am made very aware each time that I menstruate that I am not living in a world that was built or designed for me in that phase of my life. There are many times in my life in which I have had to skip school, skip class, skip important events because either I physically cannot attend without embarrassing myself, or I am in too much pain to attend. And it is an extremely uncomfortable reality to have to exist with, especially on a regular cycle. And it's even more uncomfortable that even saying the word period is shameful in many spaces. I have been made to believe, and so have many other people who menstruate throughout my whole life, that saying the word period, uterus, blood, uterine lining are things that make people uncomfortable and things that we shouldn't talk about and things that we should hide and things that we should be ashamed of. I don't think that we should be ashamed of things that we don't choose to happen to us and that aren't gross or unnatural and affect over half of the population of the entire world. And thus, I think that especially in an area such as Appalachia, in which poverty and limited access to resources is so widespread, it is extremely reasonable that that an institution with as much financial resources as Ohio University could be asked to provide relief to its students that need it. I reserve the balance of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dylan DeMonte.
So when I spoke with Commissioner Handel about having extra secondary sponsors on this bill, I was greatly excited to see the result. And I can now say that this is truly an exciting moment for Senate this year, because this is what student advocacy looks and sounds like. Directly hearing and heeding the personal experiences of students and forming an action plan based on the experiences of students. So what does access to free period products and how does it improve the academic experience at OU? Let me say this. When the basic needs of a student are not met, the individual can be impeded in their ability to focus on class or even attend class. In all respects, I support this bill and the proposal laid out by Commissioner Handel to the university because it would help meet the basic needs of students to turn more focus onto academics and increase class attendance. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Hannah Locke.
Hello, I'm a third year. My name is Hannah, and I'm studying history pre-law and sociology pre-law. I'm also here representing the American Civil Liberties Union of Ohio University as their deputy director. I'm here to urge you to vote for this bill. I think that this addresses many issues on campus, both in period poverty. It's a very real issue in the world, and it's a very real issue on this campus. And I think that this bill does great steps of addressing that. And I think it also addresses an accessibility issue. I know that I can personally not count on my hands the amount of times I've been asked in the halls if I had a tampon or knew someone who did. I can barely count on one the amount of times I've been asked this semester. I think that as senators and as representatives of this university, it is absolutely your responsibility to create an equitable educational environment, and I think that this bill does that. And so as a student who menstruates and as the deputy director of the ACLU of Ohio University, I urge you to vote in favor of this bill. I reserve the rest of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Carson Sarver.
All right, so I believe period products need to be everywhere on this campus and as well as easily accessible for anyone and everyone. Periods can affect everyone, so why not make it accessible? In addition, it is easier to find a condom on this campus than it is a tampon. So, but I'm also very fortunate to say that I have a car on campus and I have the ability to drive and find such menstruation products that most people aren't as lucky to be able to do that. So why not make them accessible? Pass this bill, make it accessible for anyone and everyone. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Mr. Wyatt Schenkel.
My name is Wyatt Schenkel. I'm a second year at Ohio University and I'm studying computer science. I support the placement of period products in the bathrooms around Ohio University because I have a sister and a girlfriend and numerous other female friends, and have heard, lots of stories of situations that they've gotten in because of a lack of publicly available period products. I also understand that while most people who use men's restrooms won't require these products, that there are some in our community who do, and they really should not be excluded from this ordinance. And with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Claire Shefflin.
Okay, so Claire unfortunately couldn't be here. She actually had to go to California. So I'm going to be reading her statement. So I think that it's important to provide feminine hygiene products in all bathrooms because it allows for people to be themselves more comfortably, as well as protect them from any issues that come from not having the necessary products. If we have free condoms available for something that is not necessary, why can we not have products that are completely necessary for comfort and ease of life? I reserve the balance of my time.
Mr. Reese Morris.
Hello, so I'm Reese Morris. I'm a first year majoring in political science and a senator of minority affairs. First, I want to say how proud I am for the turnout for this bill. It's absolutely inspiring to see all the people who care and are willing to endorse this bill. I first joined this organization as a means to help represent accessibility for students on campus, and I hate to see people not have easily and readily available access to what they need when they need it. So I wholeheartedly support this bill as a way for people who menstruate to have products necessary for them, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Chloe Fabricant.
Okay, so even though Chloe is right over there, she has asked me to read her statement on her behalf. So it is, my name is Chloe Fabricante. I don't want to say it wrong. I'm a first-year philosophy and classical civilizations major. As a member of of the Margaret Boyd Scholars Program, I have been able to hear so many different stories from people with diverse backgrounds. Unfortunately, many of the people who would benefit from this bill are not able to speak about it. I am privileged enough to buy tampons and pads, but many people with periods cannot. Although menstruation is a normal bodily function that cannot be stopped, many people do not have access to the most basic necessities for it. 500 million people lack access to period products. It is the job of those in privileged positions to lessen that number and provide products for all people with periods, not just in women's restrooms, but in single-use and men's restrooms as well. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Mr. Caden Hibbs.
Yeah, I think period products provide an essential service to many students around campus. I believe they have a benefit for both the mental and financial well-being of a lot of different students. I will also say that I think that periods have been unfairly stigmatized, mostly by straight white males like me. And I believe that in providing these products around campus, we will put an end to that type of stigmatization, and I reserve the balance.
Thank you. Miss Gwenna Ehlers.
Hello, my name is Gwenna Ehlers. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a freshman majoring in women, gender, and sexuality studies, and I am a 2023 Margaret Boyd Scholar. I have actually had the opportunity to work on a project like this in the past, and it immensely helped my high school where I worked at it. And that was a place of only about 1,000 people, and I can only imagine what it would bring to a community of over 20,000 people. I also had to begin this project by, within my club, fundraising for products and asking for donations, and not putting that burden on a club, but having the university provide for it is one, helping out clubs at the university, but also showing the community and people who menstruate here at Ohio University that the university is behind them and cares for them completely. Personally, I feel a lot of anxiety around my period. Just is a very challenging time sometimes. So being able to not worry about if I am going to randomly get my period and not have something with me is something that is going to improve my educational experience here. And with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Celia Hawk. Oh, actually, my bad. Miss Kayla Robinson.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla. I'm a freshman here, and I am the resident life senator. I am very honored to be a part of this effort to make menstrual products free on this campus to everyone. You know, Ohio University is our home for 9 months. Well, typically 9 months is our typical time here, and this is our home. And at home, I have access to menstrual products whenever I need, but on this campus, it's always a constant struggle and fight. Me personally, my cycle is always chaotic because I'm a stressed out college student, so I cannot control when my cycle comes. And there's been multiple times that I've been on this campus and not have been able to get the products that I need. I've had many friends reach out to me because they need products. If we look around, we see a water fountain everywhere on this campus. I've noticed that. There's water fountains everywhere, regardless of gender. You can always access a water fountain. I feel like you should be able to access period products. I feel like students, we already have enough stress as it is trying to get through college and start our life. We should not stress about something that we can't control. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Maeve Fellerhoff.
Hello, my name is Maeve Fellerhoff, and I'm a first year here studying studio art in the Honors Tutorial College. And I'm here on behalf of myself and my friends. For two main reasons. One, I believe this issue is common courtesy, and it just shows that the university has respect for all of its students.
I brought this up in conversation a few days ago, and of course the first thing I heard was, oh, that would have helped me yesterday when I had to be late and maybe miss class because I didn't have anything on me. And I think that really speaks louder than anything, is just those individual student experiences. And additionally, Ohio University makes a commitment to being a safe space for low-income students, and I think we have a food pantry, we have lots of emergency resources, and the fact that these essential products are not made available to them is really devastating, especially as someone who's always had the privilege to have these things provided to me. I can't imagine my life without them. I recently have been getting really sick when I get my period, and it's really awful, and the times where I'm both having to sit in a public environment, nauseous, feeling like I'm gonna faint, and then also feeling like I'm bleeding through everything I'm wearing is a unique kind of awful torture. And so I think showing dignity and respect to students through this bill should be a priority, because at the end of the day, these products are a necessity, not a luxury, and it's time that they're made available. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Celia Hawk.
I'm so sorry, but I cannot attend the meeting today. But periods are incredibly difficult to deal with. But during college, you cannot just take time to rest and feel better. I often find myself going to class tired and in pain, and placing products in restrooms would make my life so much easier. Periods are natural and products are necessary, so why can't they not be freely provided in the way that toilet paper is? I support this bill to place free period products in all bathrooms to help support any student who needs them. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Alex Parker.
Hello, my name is Alex Parker. I am a senior studying art therapy with a minor in psychology, and I serve as the Commissioner for Minority Affairs. I am a woman. I am here because I menstruate, and there are times when I or other women could be out and we can bleed. Most of our first period stories could be out in public, and we don't have the supplies that we should have. I remember countless of times where I was able to ask other women for products, but in other public spaces, supplies were not available. Going to bathrooms that do not provide menstrual products put us in an uncomfortable situation to leave work or school to accommodate our needs. This bill can help women like me that menstruate stop the burden of feeling uncomfortable and continue with our lives. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor Payne.
My name is Taylor Payne, and I'm a freshman here at Ohio University. I believe readily accessible period products are a human right, and that as an institution of higher education, OU should be fully committed to accommodating the needs of over half their students. Access to free period products would be a step towards the type of gender equity and inclusion that I feel OU champions, and not doing so ignores the need of an overwhelming number of students and staff. I reserve the balance of my time.
Miss Olivia Moore.
My name is Olivia Moore, and I am a sophomore studying English. First and foremost, I think it is important to hold free sanitary products for students who menstruate to the same necessity as free condoms. Both of these are hygiene products that are less accessible due to financing that are needed to aid the success of students. However, we do not have both of these things. Tampons are overpriced in campus markets. Most people are paying for these out of pocket unless they pay an extra $1.50 for flex per semester. All students deserve to be supplied with all the means necessary to succeed if possible. And considering the display of our school's budget priorities, I'd say we definitely could make that work. Students leave lectures and skip class due to bleeding through their pants or the unexpected start of their period without supplies. Hygiene products are already expensive. I think they are detrimental financial costs for success. I personally have professors who do not update us on Blackboard or via email about what we missed in class. So missing a day of classes is detrimental to make a student's success. Also, attendance is mandatory for most classes, and poor attendance impacts grades point averages. Menstruation is not an excused absence and is in turn impacting undersupplied students' academic success. Overall, students that menstruate are deserving of free hygiene products for the sake of their academic and personal success. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Reagan Farmer. Reagan Farmer.
Hi, everyone. My name is Reagan Farmer, and as the University Life Center for Athletics, part of my job is to work on issues that directly impact student athletes, and this bill is something that will be very beneficial for many of us in athletics. From my conversations with other female student athletes, the prospect of having free period products accessible in our locker rooms is something that we're incredibly excited about. And I'd also like to speak on the importance of having them available in all restrooms for women that look like me and women that aren't comfortable using the women's restroom for fear of harassment or any other reason. So putting them in the men's restrooms and single-use restrooms is incredibly important. So on behalf of myself, many other female student athletes, and many other women that look like me, I'm incredibly grateful for all of the hard work that the Women's Affairs Commission has put forth for the creation of this bill. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Olivia Starr.
Hello. If there's one thing we can count on in menstruation and in life, it is that it's unpredictable. When we don't have or remove resources for women and those who menstruate from areas of professional and educational spaces, we are creating an environment that is biologically inaccessible to over half of our population on campus. Thank you, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Mr. Isaac Davis.
Hi, my name is Isaac Davis. I'm the Senator for Fraternity and Sorority Life, and I know these values are reflected in many of the different chapters in their own ways, but in our creed, it describes our chapter as a brotherhood of honorable men, courteous and cultured. And another one of the things that we pledge ourselves to when we first joined the fraternity is to render aid to all who need it, especially women. And I think that this is one way that the Greek community can lend its support to its members that menstruate within the community and outside of the community. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Mackenzie Schultz.
Mackenzie couldn't be here tonight because not only is she a student on the branch campus, she is also a working student. So she left her statement with me to read. While attending Ohio University at the Eastern Campus, I have seen a change that could be implemented onto our other campuses. In our women's restrooms, we are now provided with reliable, free menstruation products through AmpFlow. The products are stored in vent-free dispensers and are available, and those available include regular pads and tampons in recyclable packaging made with organic cotton. I feel that this will be a great program when implemented correctly for other campuses, as the dispenser could be placed in all restrooms, dorm hallways, and other areas of need. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Megan Schultz.
Hello, my name is Megan Schultz. I'm a junior majoring in health administration services. I'm also a person who menstruates. This bill is important to me because I have had many friends who come from low-income households without access to period products. I also believe that those with a period have to deal with so much that they deserve access to menstrual products, even if it's for the sole reason that they forgot to pack an extra one. We deserve access to period products equally. Period products should be included in the gender-neutral and men's restrooms, as not all people who menstruate are using the bathroom that's labeled women's. And equality is equal in every aspect. The university is more than able to provide period products to students in an accessible way for free. That does not end outside the women's restroom. I support this bill because I believe that everyone should have access to the necessary products to help with their periods. Thank you for your consideration. I would like to reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Mr. Luke Picasso.
The enactment of this bill would undoubtedly benefit OU students. However, we don't know for sure, but it could also precipitate a domino effect in where other institutions follow OU's example and enact similar policies. It's impossible to know, but I am hopeful that that if OU enacts this policy, other institutions will pick up on it as well. Thank you. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Christine Blais.
Christine also could not be here tonight, but she left her statement with me. Hello, everyone. My name is Christine Blais, and I am a second-year student studying nursing and public health here at Ohio University. I am highly in favor of this bill as it removes a huge barrier of care for so many individuals who experience a period and prioritize menstrual health. It is our responsibility to serve our university's population and provide them with items that are essential to their health and wellness. These products are a necessity for much of our population.
Thank you. Mix Matt Wells.
MAC could also not be here tonight, so I will be reading their statement as well. I completely agree that all bathrooms on campus should provide free period products, considering various populations can benefit from the accessibility of these products. Socioeconomic status should not determine whether one can have access to menstruation products. Thank you. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Jessie Carmichael.
Jessie could also not be here tonight due to a busy school schedule, so she left her statement with me. In order to create an environment that is inclusive to all, free period products being implemented in all campus bathrooms are essential. Anyone who menstruates deserves to have the proper resources on campus in the event that they do not have period products on hand or under the circumstances in which they cannot afford the proper products. Just the other day, my roommate had to leave class early because she started her period unexpectedly in a campus building and had no period products on hand. The stigma surrounding periods already can induce stress on an individual, especially in the event that they are empty-handed when they start their period. I endorse this bill because I believe that it would facilitate decreased stress and worry in individuals who menstruate, as well as reducing the occurrence of having to use unsanitary methods when their period begins unexpectedly in public spaces. I reserve the balance of my time.
Miss Brenna Mead.
Okay. Providing access to menstrual products should be inclusive to all people that use these products. Providing resources will help us to not have to leave a building, class, or academic event in the case of a menstrual leak or emergency if we don't have products available to us in that moment. This will prevent us individuals from missing out on opportunities because of a menstrual cycle that others don't have to endure. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Allie Wise.
Allie unfortunately had a class event come up tonight, but she said that period products should be available to anyone who needs them on campus, and that includes restrooms that are not exclusive to women. Many individuals menstruate regardless of gender. Having access to menstruation products should be a right, not a privilege. I am in support of this campaign, and I hope to see it become a reality on our campus. Thank you for your time and consideration. I reserve the balance of my time.
Mr. Daniel M. Gordillo. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'll keep it short and sweet. My name is Dan Gordillo, and I am the Governmental Affairs Commissioner for Student Senate. To keep it short, this is not a gendered issue. I know there are plenty of people on this campus who use the same restrooms that I do that will definitely need these products. These products, speaking from somebody who uses the male restroom perspective, you typically those voices are just not heard enough in a situation like this. Therefore, we definitely need it, not just in women's bathrooms, but also in men's bathrooms. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Marissa Bakura. Okay.
Hi, my name is Marissa Becerra. I'm a freshman. Today I had an experience that every girl is familiar with. I had the feeling, right? And my mind immediately started going a million miles an hour. I was worried, did I bleed through my pants? Like, well, where am I going to get menstrual products from? Today, I was safe though, thankfully. But this experience reminded me of the many times that I was not safe and I have bled through my pants and had to rely on the age-old method of making a makeshift toilet paper pad or something like that. Providing period products would not only make sure that I didn't have to use this uncomfortable and unsanitary method while on campus so that I could attend the classes that I pay so much to attend, but it would also bring me significant peace of mind that when I am in this situation again, inevitably, I will be able to go about my day without it hindering my education. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Miss Janine Gillett.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Janine Gillett, and I'm the International Student Commissioner. So several people who have gone before me have apologized for using the words period, blood, and uterus. And yet, from an international student perspective, just this meeting in itself is a privilege that many international students do not have. And so this bill supports international students even more so because there are a lot of international students who do not come from a background where even speaking about your period is okay, even amongst women. So even to ask your classmate for a tampon or a pad some international students, I'm sure it wouldn't even cross their mind to ask someone for a tampon or a pad because it's seen as so unclean. I myself, when I was in high school in Belize, where the country that I'm from, we were forced to wear white uniforms because it was supposed to be a symbol of our purity. And you can guess how frequently you would see students around campus with these very big red spots on the back of their uniforms because it is a white uniform. And we used to have to resort to taking our sweaters and tying them around our waist, which I'm sure even people here are familiar with. However, we would get detention for doing so because that would be seen as being out of uniform, and we would instead be taken to the principal's office and be forced to like wash our uniform by ourselves, and then they'd give you this gigantic uniform that was 10 times too big for you and not ironed. So like basically they shamed you for getting your period and having a period stain, right? So I think this is a big step in the right direction, and I hope that other countries will eventually see things like this and destigmatize periods on a whole. And I think in general, it just sets a precedent because period products should be free, full stop, not just on campus, but full stop. And so it sets a really good precedent. And anyone that says that prepared, like you should be prepared, you should always have a pad on you, that statement is completely rooted in misogyny because you would never say that about toilet paper. That is it. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this resolution?
I have a couple of things. Firstly, I would like to mention Ohio University is not the only state in Ohio that is currently working on initiatives like this. Just when we went to the Ohio Student Government Summit in Akron, I was in one of their bathrooms during the student union. And they also utilized Airflow products. They were being distributed within their bathroom, and then they also had a QR code next to them. They had like a little flyer with information about, I don't quite recall what they were calling their initiative, but they had some information about it, as well as like if you want to provide feedback on this, if the thing was empty, if you have like any suggestions, please reach out to us. So we are not the only university who is actively looking at this in the state of Ohio, for one. For two, one thing that I really, really appreciate about this resolution is how intersectional it is. Obviously, this is not something that just affects women on campus. As a trans feminine person, I am not one who menstruates. However, I do know what it means and what it feels like to be afraid to go to the bathroom. I cannot imagine what that is like for all of our trans masculine friends on campus, or anybody who is gender nonconforming who is both afraid to use the bathroom and also is not able to access the products that they need in order to feel comfortable in their bodies. Having gender dysphoria is very, I cannot actually use the appropriate words that I would like to describe for it here because they're not professional. However, it is not a fun time, and having your period while dealing with that can further exacerbate that. As somebody who has worked in the LGBT Center for now 3 years, and as somebody who is dating a gender fluid individual who is trans-masc leaning, I know what that feels like based on what other people have told me, and it can further create problems that can further exacerbate specifically all of the negative statistics that trans students face as a whole, particularly with the lots of legislation that's going on in various state governments across campus. So with that being said, I fully support this bill, and with permission from the primary sponsor, Megan Hendel, I would like to amend line 76 to strike interim from Dr. Reddington's title as Vice President of Student Affairs. Thank you.
Period. Got that? Okay. Yes. Yes.
This is something that I feel is worth standing for. And I feel that enough has been said about the bill. And so for my message, I want to direct this to each and every person that came out here tonight to support this bill. History as a whole, when the light is shined on people of today, I believe there are three main points that need to be taken into account: courage, integrity, and judgment. Courage. Every single one of you came out here and showed what you believe in. You had the integrity and respect to come out here, do it in the right way, and to present yourselves as amazing people who can do the unthinkable and show this type of support. And history will judge you well for what you have done. And let it be known that this is history making. For Ohio University, you all are part of history tonight. And so I myself am proud to be in this room and to be able to witness this. And it is unfathomable the progress that Ohio University has made in the past few years. Hell, even in the past few months, and pardon my French, but it is insane. So each one of you who came out here, thank you. Thank you for being brave, for having the courage, for having that integrity, because you guys are what's worth it. And you guys are being models for everyone else. You are being that city on a hill and showing what it means truly to be a Bobcat. And lastly, Megan, you did one amazing job. So with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on this bill? Is there any other discussion?
Move to friendly amend Commissioner Gillette and Senator Vacasio's title to International Affairs rather than International Student.
Thank you.
I believe the first title international student.
It's affairs according to RNP, I believe.
International Student Affairs.
International Student Affairs.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. We'll get it right.
Any other discussion?
I move to vote.
It has been moved and seconded to vote on Senate Bill 2223-03. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Bill passes. I don't have to read this, no, because it's in the appendix. I will. Okay, up next, Senate Resolution 2223-92, a resolution to change the Committee on Members Emeriti and the Committee on Senior Honors. Whereas there is a Student Senate at Ohio University, and whereas the Student Senate is governed by the rules and procedures, and whereas the Judicial Panel is tasked with supplying interpretations of the rules and procedures when necessary, and whereas Chapter 8, Committees of the Senate, and the rules and procedures includes the Standing Committee on Members Emeriti and the Standing Committee on Senior Honors. And whereas these committees are represented as two separate entities in the rules and procedures, but have historically been combined when the committee has met. And whereas there is no official timeline or direction for the committees, so be it resolved that Chapter 8 is amended in the rules and procedures to combine the committees into one and provide an appropriate timeline and direction as shown in Appendix A. Primary sponsor, Mix Nathaniel Padilla.
So as a graduate assistant for Student Senate, I do help a lot with one committee, two committees currently. But historically in years past, they have combined it into one. It's just not been reflected in RFP, which is why Chief of Staff Planation and I decided to write this legislation together. And also, before this change, there was no proper timeline, and it was very vague on what the committee can actually do and when to do it. So I figured, we figured that this change would help the current committee and future committees to come. So it was really nice.
Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Molly Pennington.
So as some of you may know, I was the chair of both the Members Emeriti and the Senior Honors Committee last year. And it was a very confusing process, mainly because R&P was not clear on how to conduct the committee, how to conduct the meetings, what should be done after the nominees are chosen, things like that. So making these clarifications really just makes it a little bit easier for future chairs and future committee members to know exactly what their job is and what exactly they are tasked to do. So with that, I will balance my time.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this resolution?
I would like to friendly amend in subsection A on Appendix A, changing the wording to the committee shall be composed of the advisor of Senate or the graduate assistant of Student Senate or their designee.
Thank you. Any discussion? It has been moved and seconded to vote on Senate Resolution 2223-92. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Resolution passes. Senate Resolution 2223-93, a resolution to revise the rules and procedures to place the Washington, D.C. networking trip under the jurisdiction of the Leadership Development Committee. Whereas there is a Student Senate at Ohio University, and whereas the Senate is governed by the rules and procedures, and whereas the Judicial Panel is tasked with supplying interpretations of the rules and procedures when necessary, and whereas Chapter 3, Section 15, Subsection E of the Rules and Procedures states that there will be a Washington, D.C. networking trip, which the Director of Alumni Relations is responsible for organizing. And whereas Chapter 3, Section 15, Subsection E, Subdivision I, in the Rules and Procedures states, the Director shall coordinate and collaborate with the Governmental Affairs Commission regarding the Washington, D.C. networking trip. And whereas Chapter 6, Section 09, Subsection F in the Rules and Procedures states, the Commissioner shall collaborate with the Director of Alumni Relations on the organization of the Washington, D.C. networking trip. And whereas the Director of Alumni Relations is an often unfilled position, and whereas the Washington, D.C. networking trip requires far more effort to organize than a single person should be expected to take on, especially in addition to their other obligations to the position. And whereas the Washington, D.C. networking trip is an excellent leadership development opportunities for members of the body to participate in. And whereas the trip has been organized by members of the Leadership Development Committee in recent years, and whereas the Washington, D.C. networking trip has historically had advocacy components on a national scale, and whereas the Judicial Panel met with quorum to discuss this issue, Therefore be it resolved that Chapter 3, Section 15, Subsection E and Subdivision I, as well as Chapter 6, Section 09, Subsection F, be removed from the rules and procedures, and be it further resolved that Chapter 8, Section 08, Subsection F, be created to move the Washington, D.C. networking trip under the jurisdiction of the Standing Committee on Leadership Development and outline the organization's process, and be it further resolved that the trip be renamed to the Washington, D.C. Networking and Advocacy Trip, and be it further resolved that the rules and procedures be updated to reflect this change immediately as shown in Appendix A, B, and C. Sponsors, primary sponsor, Ms. Lavina Cooley.
Yes, firstly, I would like to amend line 23 to strike the word "and" from between trip and has. Secondly, yes, this is something that I noticed within the rules and procedures is that honestly, the Washington, D.C. trip did not have a lot of direction about what it should be about. I sat on the Leadership Development Committee last year and was working on planning the trip, which ultimately had to be canceled due to some cancellations among our representatives. But in being on that planning committee and also working to plan it this year, I know how much work goes into this. You have to be able to identify hotels. You have to be able to identify who's going on the trip, who the trip is going to be meeting with, both in terms of representatives as well as the kind of alumni and like networking opportunities as well. All of those take a lot of time, and then you also have to, once you figure all of that out, you then have to combine them all into a schedule, which makes the most sense and is strategic. You have to plan transportation, you have to plan gas and budgeting. All of that stuff is a lot. The alumni relations position has not historically been filled, and frankly, in my opinion, even if it was filled historically, this would still be a lot of work for two people who are obligations elsewhere within the body. Aligning this within the Leadership Development Committee makes stress a lot easier. Tasks can be better delegated amongst members. And we can also bring in a lot of different perspectives. Not to mention, when I wrote this into the rules and procedures underneath the Leadership Development Committee, I added in some increased direction so that way you knew exactly what the Washington, D.C. networking and advocacy trip would entail, as well as information about how individuals would be selected, just to provide some clarification for future vice presidents in charge of the committee. And with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Mix Nathaniel Padilla.
I know that this change will help future vice presidents and future alumni relations or affairs commissioners to come. It'll be a lot easier if there's multiple minds working on it at once. And it kind of just makes sense for it to go under leadership development committees, and it is a leadership development trip full of social network opportunities and a lot of growth opportunities. So I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Okay, it has been moved and seconded to vote on Senate Resolution 2223-93. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Resolution passes. That was a good one. Senate Resolution 2223-94, a resolution to amend the rules and procedures, Chapter 5, Section 04. Whereas the judicial panel is tasked with supplying interpretations of the rules and procedures when necessary, and whereas under the current rules and procedures, Chapter 5, Section 04, Subsection A, there are 2 senator slots available to serve as commissioner for the Women's Affairs Commission, and whereas 5.04A does not designate a number of commissioner roles for any other commission, and whereas in 6.04A through F, the rules and procedures refers to there being 1 commissioner per commission, and whereas in 6.18 it states that there will be 5 voting members, 4 senators, and 1 commissioner, be it resolved that the Chapter 5, Section 04, subsection A, the word to be removed from the line 7, and be it further resolved that the rules and procedures be updated to reflect this change as shown in Appendix A immediately. Primary sponsor, Ms. Megan Handel.
This just makes sense. I don't know why the word to was put in there. There's many errors in this document. So here's my little part to fix my section. I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Ms. Emily Zeiler.
This RMP change will just continue to work that the Senate body and the judicial panel has been working on this academic year by making the rules and procedures clear for interpretation and just general updates. We love a clear and incorrect governing document. That is, reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this resolution? Yeah.
If anyone's able to answer this, why is it that only women's affairs was 2? Was it just lost in translation along the way?
Confusion of the past administrations.
Also, in the women's affairs section, it does say 1 commissioner, so I don't know why it's saying all the commissioners.
Yeah. Any other discussion? It's been moved and seconded to vote on Senate Resolution 2223-94. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Resolution passes. Senate Resolution 2223-95, a resolution to create Chapter 4, Public Relations Staff and Duties in the Rules and Procedures. Whereas there is a student senate at Ohio University, and whereas the Senate is governed by the rules and procedures, and whereas the judicial panel is tasked with supplying interpretations of the rules and procedures when necessary, and whereas the position of Director of Public Relations has grown exponentially since the original writing of the rules and procedures, and whereas public relations now needs a staff of its own to run social media, websites, and press releases effectively. Whereas the Director of Public Relations no longer fits well under Chapter 3 of the Rules and Procedures, and whereas there is no current section in the Rules and Procedures that allows or defines the position of PR staff. So be it resolved that Chapter 4, Public Relations Staff and Duties, be created in the Rules and Procedures as shown in Appendix A. Primary sponsor, Ms. Molly Pennington.
Okay, y'all get to hear me talk about this for 2 pieces of legislation tonight. So, as it says in the piece of legislation, historically, public relations has answered to the chief of staff and has been included under the umbrella of executive staff. However, I cannot effectively advise a public relations director, nor can I effectively advise a director of graphic design, social media director, or webmaster as effectively as the PR director could. So with this new chapter of the RMP, it would establish precedent for the public relations director to have her own staff and to manage that staff accordingly. So with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Ms. Carson Sarver.
So yeah, it pretty much just makes it a lot easier for the Director of Public Relations position, and there's not really confusion under who's supposed to report to who and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it'll just make my life a lot easier going forward. I reserve the balance of my time.
Is there any discussion on this resolution? Yeah.
I have a question directed towards Ms. Carson Server. With this being put into the rules and procedures, are you planning on taking this to open up more windows for social relations, or is this just more of putting it in there for leadership direction?
What do you mean social relations?
Looking at new opportunities in the social network field, especially online.
Well, in regards to this legislation, it's more for leadership wise and more so with the way in which we are working as a unit right now, it makes sense to change RMP to make it like this, as well as social kind of relations. We are always open to finding new opportunities and trying new things. So this doesn't necessarily dictate that we're already we're open to it now. We've just always been, this is more to make it all uniform R&P wise.
Yes.
Point of inquiry, would these changes make the PR director still report to the chief of staff, or would it be the executive officers as well?
So under this change, basically the public relations director would operate similar to how the chief of staff does. She has her own staff, and she would answer to the executive officers directly rather than to me.
Awesome.
Point of information with that as well, that is honestly kind of the way that it has been operating lately anyways within the past couple of years. Carson is a member of our leadership team. She has a seat at the table when we have our leadership team meetings because, again, the director of PR controls so much, and it's very important that they have that position. And oftentimes, the one directly overseeing them ends up being President Shoulders in conjunction with the rest of the leadership team. So doing this just kind of puts what we're already doing into practice onto paper and the RNP to clarify a lot of discrepancies.
Mm-hmm. I would like to add that this is very important. As we continue to grow as Senate, as we continue to have different impacts around campus, it's going to be that much more important that we can effectively communicate outside of our body. So to make sure that this is in RMP and these responsibilities are highlighted as very important and as a position that should be filled immediately, it will help for Senate to not only reach outside of itself, but to even know what's going on sometimes as well. So I think this is very important. Any other discussion? Do I hear a motion?
Second.
It has been moved and second to vote on Senate Resolution 2223-95. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Resolution passes. Senate Resolution 2223-96, a resolution to remove the Public Relations Director, Webmaster, Social Media Director, and Director of Graphic Design from Chapter 3 of the Rules and Procedures. Whereas there is a student senate at Ohio University, and whereas the Senate is governed by the rules and procedures, and whereas the judicial panel is tasked with supplying interpretations of the rules and procedures when necessary, and whereas Chapter 3, Executive Staff Positions and Duties of the Rules and Procedures includes the Director of Public Relations, and whereas per Chapter 3 of the Rules and Procedures, the Director of Public Relations answers to the Chief of Staff rather than the executives, and whereas Public Relations has historically answered to the executive officers rather than the Chief of Staff, and whereas the Director of Public Relations has, in recent years, grown to need its own staff, and whereas the staff could answer to the Director of Public Relations rather than to the Chief of Staff. So be it resolved that Chapter 3 is amended in the Rules and Procedures to reflect this change as shown in Appendix A. Primary sponsor, Ms. Molly Pennington.
This is basically just a procedural thing. This is just removing them from Chapter 3 so that we don't have them in both Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. But everything that I said for the previous legislation still stands, and I reserve the final second.
Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Ms. Carson Sarwer.
I second everything Molly said. This is just more for like cleaning up stuff. I reserve the final second.
Do I hear a motion? Or discussion first, y'all. Any discussion? Okay, it has been moved and seconded to vote on Senate Resolution 2223-96. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstention? Resolution passes. Please. Senate Resolution 2223-97, a resolution to add personal days for members of the Student Senate to the rules and procedures. Whereas there's a Student Senate at Ohio University, and whereas the Senate is governed by the rules and procedures, and whereas the judicial panel is tasked with supplying interpretations of the rules and procedures when necessary, and whereas mental and physical health are both important for well-being of members of the Student Senate, and whereas circumstances may arise wherein individuals need to take time off and may not be able to rearrange their schedules to make up office hours and meetings, and whereas there is not currently any procedures and the rules and procedures regarding excused absences from office hours and meetings. And whereas excused absences provide flexibility for illness and allowed people to take time for themselves when they need it. And whereas an allocation of 5 unexcused absences, hereby referred to as personal days, should be allowed per semester to provide members with flexibility as long as members notify the leadership team no longer than the day of. And whereas more than 5, no later than the day of. And whereas more than 5 excused absences could impact a senator's or vice commissioner's ability to effectively perform their duties. And whereas, according to the rules and procedures, Chapter 10, Section 03, general body meetings may occur every Wednesday during weeks in which classes are scheduled. And whereas, Chapter 10, Section 04, subsection B also states that quorum must be attained, or else all business will be tabled until the next scheduled body meeting. And whereas it is already possible for voting members of the body to find a proxy for general body meetings, and whereas several members taking personal days on Wednesdays could result in the body being unable to vote and attend to its business, and whereas this policy should take the necessities of quorum into consideration, and whereas the judicial panel met with quorum to discuss this issue, therefore be it resolved that subsection J be added to Chapter 2, Section 02 in the rules and procedures as shown in Appendix A, and be it further resolved that subsection J be added to Chapter 3, Section 01 in the rules and procedures as shown in Appendix B, and be it further resolved that subsection G be added to Chapter 4, Section 02 in the rules and procedures as shown in Appendix C, and be it further resolved that subsection I be added to Chapter 5, Section 02 in the rules and procedures as shown in Appendix D, and be it further resolved that subsection I be added to Chapter 6, Section 05 in the rules and procedures as shown in Appendix E, and be it further resolved that the rules and procedures be updated to reflect these changes immediately. Ms. Primary Sponsor, Ms. Lavina Cooley.
Yeah, firstly, I would like to amend Appendix A where it says graduate advisor to actually say graduate assistant for Student Senate, just for clarification and consistency purposes in the rules and procedures. Yeah, this bill has been a long time in the works. The leadership team last year realized that we really didn't have anything that clearly outlined a procedure about absences. And we know that things can come up for a variety of circumstances, whether those are appointments, whether you just have too much going on your plate and you need to take a day off, if you have some family stuff arising, anything like that. We know that that stuff comes up, but there wasn't a procedure in the rules and procedures to outline what exactly that would look like and what would happen in the case that that happens. And so this does that. What I hope that this will do is help foster retention and positive morale within the Senate body. This kind of mirrors some academic policies which allow excused absences from classes. I wanted to allocate at least 5 because we knew that things can happen throughout the semester that allows for roughly up to 5 weeks of absences throughout the semester. So this was a way to kind of incorporate this and also hopefully foster positive morale and increase retention and show that we are actually caring about our students' mental and physical well-being. And with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Thank you. Secondary sponsor, Ms. Molly Pennington.
Yeah, something that we're seeing in a lot of student organizations across campus is that student leaders are being stretched thin, and that's causing for a lot of student organizations to lose some of their best members. So this is one action that we can take as our student organization to kind of help y'all foster your mental and physical well-being and make sure that you are performing the best that you can so that you can serve your constituents the best that you can. And with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Is there any discussion on this resolution? Yeah. You.
Sorry, so just point of clarification. Is it 5, so these personal things, is that, you just said it was like basically 5 weeks, so?
There are 5 days, but because like hopefully you would only need to take like a single day off in a week, you would then have like up to 5 weeks. But yes, it is only 5 days. And I will put in a clarification that this does not apply to like emergencies that happen. Obviously, if you have an emergency, we're not expecting you to do your office hours. Please take care of your business. This is just like, so like emergencies are like a separate categorization than what this personal days is covering. I just wanted to use personal days because it's a very broad kind of description that covers a lot of like other things that could be incorporated.
So just so I'm hearing this right, one personal day is basically the equivalent to the week off from office hours?
No. So clarification, I apologize, that was confusing, so I do apologize for that. One single personal day is like for the day that you have office hours. So if you have office hours on Monday and you need to take a personal day on Monday, you can take that personal day off on Monday. If you needed to take off another day on, say, Thursday, for example, you would then take another personal day off on that Thursday. So it's really up to your discretion as a member when you would use up those 5 days.
Any other discussion?
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
And so this is just me personally seeing that, especially for students in STEM, not saying that any other college has less challenges, but with how it works in STEM, a lot of those exams kind of get packed together and it can be insane. And I worry that 5 is not enough. And so with that, I would like to move to amend the portion in line 13 of 5 days to 7.
Can I piggyback off of your statement?
Let's finish one thing first, and then we can move on to that, but thank you.
Before we kind of go into that, I do want to provide some rationale for the leadership team as to for why we selected 5 days. Like I said, this was based off of kind of some classes, and I know generally my classes, when they allow excused absences, typically end up being around 3. We felt that that was not going to be enough for our students. However, as Senate members, we still have an obligation to our student body in order to observe our office hours, enact the programming and policy changes that we're having, the meetings that we have with administration, with students, with student organizations, with all of that. And we felt going above 5 might end up detracting from some of that ability to be able to do that. We have full trust in all of your guys' ability, but hopefully time management skills can come into play as well as we kind of balance being student leaders on campus and also students on campus.
And this is the reality. If you're missing more than 5 days, then we're going to connect you with a resource to help you, you know, because typically if there's a reoccurrence and we have to know as a leadership team, then we're not going to, you know, be like, oh, we should have put more days. We're going to make sure you get connected with the resource to help you. So really, this is also a way for us to make sure that we're keeping up with how people are doing as well. And if we recognize maybe in the future that that needs to be expanded upon, then there's probably multiple different ways we can approach that. But I understand what you're saying. I mean, I would love to have a full calendar week off too, but technically this would be a full school week that you would have each semester. So technically in a full calendar year, you would have 10 days off. Okay. Janine.
Since maybe I'm misunderstanding, but since this is for Senate for our office hours and our office hours aren't like by days, like you're not expected to be in the office every day. For example, as a commissioner, I have 5 hours that I need to serve a week, but I just have to do those 5 hours. Like I could do those 5 hours in one day if I so chose, right? So instead of days, wouldn't it make more sense to do hours? Maybe I'm, no, but yeah, wouldn't it make sense to do hours instead of days?
I think that's a fair question.
It is definitely a fair question. We ultimately chose days because you can choose which day that you take a personal day on, because we know that some folks might have 5 office hours here, 4 office hours there. And that also makes it really difficult to like assign an actual number to it, because say, for example, somebody needs to take a personal day and they have 5 office hours on that day. they can go ahead and just take off that day. They cover all of their office hours. It's all good. But like then if they have, you know, only a maximum of 10 office hours, that's going to end up looking very different. If somebody has like 1 office hour a day and then they take that day off for a personal day, then they would end up like with like up to 10 days, up to 20 days maybe, depending on how many things that they're doing. And so ultimately days provides the most flexibility while also being providing the most guidance and structure, as days allows people to take it when they need it. So they might be able to apply that to a day that they have more office hours. They might be able to apply that for a day that they have less office hours, and it provides them the autonomy to make that decision for themselves, and it creates that kind of blanket statement for everybody. Because the other thing to take in consideration as well is commissioners have 5 office hours that they have to serve a week. The leadership team has 12 office hours that we serve a week. Chief of staff has 8 office hours a week. Vice commissioners have 2 office hours a week, and the senators have 4 office hours a week. So there's a big discrepancy there, and what might look like a personal day for a vice commissioner looks very different from a personal day for the president of Student Senate, for example.
Please pass this bill or this resolution, y'all. Keep
Okay,
going.
I genuinely think the bill should pass, but I still think, because if I were to take 5 personal days where like 5 personal days, but it reflected as 5 hours each, versus if I took 5 personal days over 5 weeks and those 5 personal days allotted my 5 hours. So let's say I just did Friday, like 5 hours on Friday, and I missed 5 Fridays, then I would miss a total of 50 hours. Whereas if I missed 5 individual days of like 1-hour days, then I've only missed 5 hours. So there's a discrepancy, because then in that case, I could just say, oh, my office hours are Friday from 1 to 5, and then I take 5 personal days, and half of the semester I don't know. I do think that this is a very, very valid bill, but I feel like ours makes more sense in my opinion.
I think you make a very fair point.
I think it's a good point, but I think as student leaders, I think the majority of us in the room can be trusted not to do that, although it sounds appealing. But I think there's also a level of trust there and just personal responsibility to not do that.
Mm-hmm.
I fully agree with that. That I think I was thinking too much of like the logistics, but I genuinely think, especially with this particular body, that we have a very, very understanding leadership team and just Senate in general. So I hope that the spirit of the law is what is carried through. So I agree with whoever said that.
Yeah, thank you. I do want to add that we also are reviewing how we hold people accountable in Senate. So as we, have these opportunities for us to have more flexibility that we need to have if we're going to remain attractive for students to be a part of Senate and to actually be able to say they want to be a part of Senate, we will also be considering what that means when it comes to conduct and keeping people accountable. But I do understand where you're going with that.
Based off what they just said, I would like to move to amend 5 days to 7 hours.
I feel like we're all in Senate. This is a great opportunity all of us have. We have a strong voice here. The chairs that we're sitting in right now is our job at the end of the day, and jobs don't give out hours, time off. It's days. We all have stressful. Myself, I'm a STEM major. I'm a psych with a pre-med minor, so I understand that those days get very overwhelming and trying. But I feel like putting it in hours, it leaves too much wiggle room for discrepancies. And as an organization, I feel that this is a career, maintaining professional status. So days in the corporate world are typically traditional.
I would like to respond.
There's other people who want to discuss.
If I may live off of that as well, I think you can say one thing about us is that we are very hardworking, and I do not feel this would be a system in which we would use, and if it's found that it isn't used, I believe that our executive staff is responsible enough to bring that issue forward to people, as well as work to pass legislation that can help amend said problem. I don't believe that there's a current issue with this bill as it is, and I think that it's something we should all work to pass.
Commissioner Archer.
So I understand the point in the plan. So if someone is having office hours strike 3 days and then the person is taking a day off to deal with mental issue, have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I think one day may not be sufficient. One day may not be sufficient to deal with that. So instead of hours for this, why not weeks, so that if you're taking the office hours off, one day a week and 1 week or 3 days in a week, I think that would be sufficient to deal with yourself in the mental issues.
Okay, so I'm going to come at this from a JP and their office hours standpoint. So I'm only required to do 2 office hours a week. Obviously, you guys see me in there more. But imagine if we did it. But imagine if we gave people like 20 hours a week. Oh, that gives me 10 days off. Okay. But that gives like vice commissioners, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I only give them like 4. So just in total fairness, I think 5 days is the most logical solution to this issue.
Yeah.
I would also like to say, just from a chief of staff standpoint, it is much easier for me to track when you're taking your personal days if you tell me I'm taking Monday off as a personal day, rather than I'm taking 2 hours on Monday and then 3 hours next Thursday. That's a lot harder for me to keep track of, and ultimately I'm the one who's looking at your office hours at the end of the day. And so for my ease, telling me that you're taking a day rather than I'm taking this many hours is just so much easier to keep track of.
Any further discussion?
So first, I'm going to kind of go around the room here. I think some good points were made all around. However, one thing that I kind of had been hearing from that is we're kind of, by doing so, by going with days, it does still open up the possibility of someone taking advantage of that, even though in a perfect world, may not, we could say, yeah, no one's gonna do that. We can't say that for sure. So there is that. Also, I would like to respond to what you had said earlier. You're right, in the corporate world, it's in days. However, I don't believe that the Senate, we're in a very unique position. We're not in the corporate world. And on top of that, even though, yes, we do have obligations and jobs for this, we are students first always. And that's something we need to keep in mind when we're doing this, is yes, we have obligations to the Senate, but we first have obligations to our education and making sure that we're able to put the right amount of time in for that. And so I believe that's also extremely important when thinking about this. And so on one hand, days sounds ideal, but it does open up that opportunity to that. And with hours, as well as extending those hours, it gives more opportunities for people to be able to study. And I hope I have not said something wrong, because a lot of hands have gone up after that. But
This is just discussion. Luke Bacasio.
I just want to say I think we beat the horse to death on this issue. I think this is probably get around to people voting on this issue.
I will say, since we're arguing over the fact to give us less technical time, I don't think we have to currently worry about people taking advantage of the system. And as Senator Moore has said, I think we can trust our executives to, if that were to be the case, take care of it on an individual basis. I second Bacasio. I'm moving this along.
Lastly, because I want to vote too, I feel like office hours versus school office, is that correct to my understanding?
Yeah.
That gives, I'm in a work study. I have plenty of time to study while making money. I feel like as student senate, we can still be students while upholding our position as
Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Don't be sarcastic. Okay. Is there any, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Nay. Any abstentions? Resolution passes. Oh, don't get rowdy in here. I know it's late. Okay. Commission reports. What side do I want to start on today? I'm feeling over here. Happy Black History Month.
Hi, everyone. Happy Black History Month for the last time. This one, I'm so sad. I cannot make any of my jokes anymore. Well, I still make them, but I think that this is an important time to highlight that although these stories are important during this month, they are important every single month. So you guys should all support your Black student organizations, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, when they are supporting Black students here, because we are also students here at this university, despite it being a predominantly white campus. Moving on, for my commission, we just had our first meeting on Monday. It went really well. We're coming up with some ideas for some student engagement, which I hope I will be able to announce soon. And then I also will be emailing someone from the Ebony Bobcat Network tomorrow for a follow-up email. I was supposed to do that today, but I did not get the chance because I have a history essay to write. So school first, but yeah, with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Okay, I feel like I've taken up enough time tonight, but I would like to say thank you to everybody in this room for the support on the initiative that our commission has been working on. It means the world to me, and tonight was very good. We have lots going on in our commission, so quick updates. Take Back the Night is on April 6th at the Athena Cinema. Doors open at 6:30, not 6, and speakers start at 7. The website's now updated, so I'll link it in the minutes. And Mary Nally, the Director of the Center of Campus and Community Engagement, has connected me with the Chamber of Commerce and the Athens Uptown Business Association for the door decorating committee contests. And the rest of our projects I've already mentioned before, so I'm gonna keep mine short, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you.
Hello. Academic Senator reminders. Our commission meeting will be remote on Teams on Friday at 3, and as always, please let me know if this conflicts with your schedule. So for Vice Commissioner Beam, we had a great conversation this week, and he is now looking into academic advising standards and expectations, as well as preparing for our meeting with the provost. Senator Thomas is continuing meetings with constituents during office hours in Patton, including helping with applications, connecting students with student orgs and their interests, and helping find necessary resources. She is also planning an event for education students to interact with their senator. She also has an upcoming UPEP meeting with other Patton College student leaders on March 7th, and 2 professional development trips planned to both Cincinnati and Columbus within the next 2 months. Senator Handel is continuing work on outreach to student organizations for health sciences students. And Senator Corr has set up a meeting with the Dean of Arts and Sciences to discuss survey data and the disintegration of programs within the Modern Languages Department. Okay, so as far as student organization visits go, we visited the Anthropology Majors Association as well as the Political Science Majors Association and discussed improvements that could be made to Bobcat Connect as well as issues with course offerings. Yesterday, we visited the ACLU student group of OU, and they had a great presentation on federal, state, and university level legislation for students to contact their representatives on. I recommend to all of you to go to a meeting of the ACLU. They meet on Tuesday evenings. It was a great experience with many good, substantive conversations on student advocacy opportunities, and I look forward to promoting them on our social media soon. For the Academic Wellbeing Survey, it's only been a few days so far, and we have 270 responses. Many of these responses include direct recommendations for action on specific issues we can take into upcoming meetings with the various deans as well as the provost. Please share the survey by the end of this week for a big weekend push over 400 responses. There's a post on my Instagram account you can use, as well as the link sent out in the last email. We will go over responses and compile a presentation next week, and we will be selecting raffle winners for the gift cards on Monday the 27th in the Senate office at 12 p.m. We will also be reviewing the survey responses as a commission and preparing the presentation on the evening of Thursday, March the 2nd. And thank you to PR Director Sarver for helping me out on this initiative. And Finals Fest. I had a meeting with BBC Chicken and Waffles to discuss catering for the event. The budget for the food is now complete. And I am also in contact with the coordinator for activities of HRL and the GA for engagement of the Alumni Association to discuss activity ideas. And we hope to have a full event budget for consideration by the end of March. I have also secured therapy dog visitation with Doug and Penny for 5 to 6:30 during the event. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. The Qualtrics survey for environmental affairs or environmental issues is been up for about a week now. Thank you to all who have taken it. If you haven't taken it, I strongly encourage you to. There are a lot of important issues concerning environmentalism that I think our commission really needs feedback on. We're also hoping to have a tabling session to encourage students to take the survey. We'll probably be passing out candy, hoping to have it in the next week or two. Our Sustainability Network kickoff event is still being worked on by myself, Samantha Holdaway, Caitlin Roush, and Era Bakia. Right now, we're trying to narrow down the dates and place. We're thinking in the range of March 25th to April 2nd, around that time, and potentially in the Baker Ballroom or the Walter Rotunda. The event will basically be to bring together student leaders from different environmental organizations and really encourage them to get behind a more unified network to promote sustainability on campus. Still working on the Athens Farmers Market on campus. We're looking at 29 Park Place as well as the area where the Bobcat food truck usually sits. And so I'm working with faculty, environmental faculty on that, as well as a couple students. Still working on the project as well to increase public transportation. I've gotten some data from Tia Heisel, which basically showed the amount per student that is spent on public transportation, in which you do have to pay. That would include like rental bikes or scooters or the Go Bus. I'm also in touch with Xander Schultz from the Office of Sustainability, basically talking to him about how to get data that would look at the carbon footprint of people who use individual vehicles on campus, as well as how much it actually costs them to use those individual vehicles. And then finally, I've gotten in touch with OU Clean Closets, which is a new sustainability group. I'm hoping to come to their meeting in late March, as well as include them in the Sustainability Network, and probably get in touch with them later in the semester to potentially help out with the clothing drive.
Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. Last week I participated in the meeting of International Student Union. This is part of the initiative of SAC to participate in the activities of the various student organizations that we are funding to see what they are using the funds that we provide for. And also this week was for SAC biweekly workshops. So we dedicated Mondays and Tuesdays in collaboration with the Campus Involvement Center to organize a training for various student organizations in assisting them how to apply for funding. So we have SAC biweekly funding deadline approaching this Friday, and also we have SAC biweekly funding meeting this Sunday. The end of my report.
Thank you.
Keep it short and sweet this week too. So today I actually met my intern. We had a fairly productive meeting, and it seems that he will be a vital part of our commission now, and I'm very excited to begin working with him. Concerning election day work, I have committed to writing a new bill instead of excused absences. That's for university holiday. Fingers crossed that gets done for in time for next week. And also concerning that too, I am reaching out to campus Democrats and campus Republicans so that hopefully I will be able to be a speaker at their meetings and we can enlist the aid of those two organizations. Those two organizations will put more pressure on the university, and more pressure is a good thing with this. So that is the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. Just a reminder that we are having we're having our Disability Awareness Month movie night showing March 21st, showing Crip Camp. Please come out and show out. If you or anyone you know may benefit from this discussion, it's a great way to get educated on the topic. Our commission went to the talk with NAACP today to talk about ableism and ways we can make the campus more accessible for students with disabilities. We are so excited to work with them and hopefully more student organizations that can help us with this. Lastly, our Culture Fair fashion show is happening on April 2nd. If you or anyone that you know wants to participate, please send them our way. Please stay on the lookout for an meeting and tablings for both events. And that's it.
Thank you.
Hi, we are hopefully going to have our commission meetings Mondays at 1:15. I'm saying hopefully because we all have really busy schedules, so it's like been almost impossible to make them all mesh together. But I think that we finally figured that out. And then it should be like bi-weekly in person, but now with that, it might just be weekly in person. And then I'm still waiting back to hear about some initiatives I've mentioned at the past GBMs with housing. And then also Housing and Residence Life is having focus groups to get feedback from students about their housing master plan. So they want to see what students want within new residence halls. I have like all of the dates and locations. They'll be in the minutes, so I don't have to take up more time, but that's the end of my report.
Thank you.
Firstly, before I get into my report, I just want to briefly mention that the weather is going to be 72 degrees and sunny tomorrow. Please, please, please get out and enjoy it while it's there. Take a mental health break. So for my actual report, we are very excited to be starting what hopefully will turn into a tradition for this commission of hosting a lock-in style event, either in Walter Fieldhouse or in Ping, anywhere on campus, honestly, that's going to provide a fun time for people to do something during the fest weekend, for those that don't want to participate in that because there's not much else to do during those weekends. So we are working on that. We will be hopefully sending out a survey by the end of next week, asking students what type of prizes they want, if they want small prizes for everyone, big prizes for, random people, but not everyone's going to get something that way. We're also still looking at catering. But overall, it's very exciting. There's going to be Capri Suns, if passed. I think that's important to note on it. And so we're looking into that, and it will hopefully be on March 25th, once everything gets hopefully approved and passed. Also a reminder to the members on my commission that we do have a meeting this Friday at 3 p.m. and I have sent out the agenda. Please, when you have the time, fill it out with any updates. And with that, that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Okay, Janine.
Hi, I switched to my computer, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, first and foremost, thank you all for passing the bill. Last week for our budget, I am currently working with Trinity and the culinary department on just ironing out that, and then I will work with Lavina on tabling, on scheduling a tabling. But that's going well, so I'm excited. I think the only other thing that I have to report are tomorrow, Thursday, there will be the international dinner, or I dinner as they're calling it. And so if anybody is interested in attending, they will have a flash sale for tickets tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the top of Baker. And for students, it is $10. So if you're interested in attending the International Student Dinner, please, go buy a ticket there. Ragda will be attending on behalf of Senate. I recently attended the Bangladesh Day that they had, and it was super, super interesting. It was very, very rewarding. And I had several of like my American friends attend with me, and they had so much fun. And so I can definitely guarantee you that like just because you are not of the culture does not mean you will enjoy it any less. And if you can't attend tomorrow's international dinner, the brain work. The Polynesian students are having, I'm sorry, the Indonesian students are having a dinner as well in Baker Ballroom on Sunday, March 5th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So if anyone is interested, the food, if you go and follow them on Instagram, the food is amazing. The food they've been sharing like what food will be, and it looks absolutely amazing. So I think with that, that is the end of my report.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to kind of announce some Pride Week updates. We are collaborating with UPC this year for a drag show. Unfortunately, it will be occurring on Wednesday, March 22nd during general body meeting. That was the only time they could get the Baker Ballroom available. However, still encourage people who are not coming to Senate that night to go show support there. There's going to be some student performers in that one as well. So also go to show your support fellow students who are performing as well. Additionally, we are working on the logistics, but we are very hopeful that we will be having a queer small business and artist pop-up shop happening on Friday, March 24th in the afternoon. So if you happen to know any students or any people in the community who are queer and have a small business or have art that they would like to sell, please have them reach out to the LGBTQ Senate email, which is Senate.LGBTQA affairs. And we would love to have them showcased. We're still working out the logistics, so we're not 100% positive if that is going to be happening for sure, but we are very quickly working to finalize those logistics to get that all in motion. With that, that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Any Senate committee reports? I have one. So I will be pulling the University Policy Review Committee to review and discuss 2 pieces of policy change. One of those policies is the intention to require students to provide or confirm their address where they're living each semester. And this will enable the university to contact students in the event of emergency and provide specific notifications regarding licensure and certifications based upon the state or U.S. territory in which the student is located. This University Policy Review Committee was decided in the beginning of last year, and then 4 members, including myself, well, 5 members, including myself, on the University Policy Review Committee are Mario Conch, Ragna Eshlaudli, Chanel Spinner-Smith, and Dan Gordillo. Thank you. Yes.
I do only have one tonight, it's a little lengthy, but I'm currently working, this is for the Leadership Development Committee, sorry, that is specified. I'm currently working on a budget for the Washington, D.C. Networking and Advocacy trip, and we'll hopefully have that submitted to the Budget Committee for review in the next week. Currently planning on some sightseeing on Sunday. On Monday, I'm planning to have like a general networking day. Regarding that, I've been in contact with networking with both Student Senate alumni for those opportunities, and we're also utilizing other connections that we have to organize networking opportunities with other individuals in the Washington, D.C. area. And then Tuesday, I'm planning on having it be our advocacy day, where we will be spending most of the day on Capitol Hill. Eric Richard and I are quickly working on organizing our meetings with those representatives, and I will hopefully have the names of the specific representatives who are meeting with soon, once those are officially scheduled. I also have some wonderful updates from the Ohio Student Government Summit that we went to last weekend. We had the opportunity to meet with representatives from student governments across the state of Ohio and also Pennsylvania there. Akron was the host institution, and we had the opportunity to see their office, visit their student center, and learn more from the speakers that they had brought in. Tiffany Montgomery, the co-chair of the Women's Inclusion Network at the NRP group, was the keynote speaker. Her keynote speech entailed several helpful principles to support professional development in student organizations, and I intend on sending out what those principles were with the handout to members in the meeting minutes. We also got to hear from a variety of other speakers as well, including student government alumni, and university administrators, and professionals in their fields. Overall, we had an incredible opportunity in order to be able to see how other student governments are set up and share not only our ideas with them, but also gain some in return. It was a great time to network with current and future leaders of student government, and also further our professional networks that we have as students and future professionals. And I'm very happy with just the overall involvement that all of the members who attended showed in the Student Government Summit. And with that, that is the end of my report.
Thank you.
Janine, did you have a report?
Guessing no. University committee reports. I will have 2 reports for you all next meeting, and that will be our SHIP student insurance committee, and then also our Friday group that proposed one of the bill that we actually passed through Senate this past year, which was our governmental affairs absence days. So I'll have 2 full reports for you all next week. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Yes.
So the publishing board committee for the Post has narrowed it down to 3 applicants for the new editor-in-chief. We'll be going over those applicants in their presentations tomorrow at noon. So I'm assuming a conclusion will come within the next coming week, and hopefully I'll have that report for you guys next general body meeting.
Awesome. Okay, my report. Well, just really quickly, does everyone know if they're on a university committee or not? If not, because there might be a little confusion, I will be sending out an email reminder to everyone so that they understand what is expected when they report, because there are other people on university committees, but I just want to let everyone know. But anyway, my turn. Thank you everyone who came to speak about having free period products around campus tonight. And thank you, Commissioner Handel, for your time and hard work that you have put into this. I cannot tell you how proud I am for seeing this bill come to fruition, and especially seeing you having to pitch this in front of our president this morning. So I was very, very proud. Listening to all of these stories made me feel less alone. And I cannot tell you the fear of meeting administrators or speaking in front of thousands while trying to not bleed through your pants. It's scary, I promise you. I don't think anyone should be in that position. But when we advocate for ourselves and for each other, we provide an environment that's conducive to belonging. So as we continue, please remind yourselves that this advocacy work allows for everyone to feel like they belong here. And these stories are important. So we are the agents of creating belonging on campus, and all of you joined the Senate to make a difference on campus. And my mission was to help us check off that goal. So, check. But just a quick reminder for me, from last week, the diversity audit student sessions are still happening. There were 2 sessions today. Did anyone get to go to one of the sessions? Well, looky here. There's 4 more opportunities. Or 3. So tomorrow, February 23rd, from 4:15 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. We also have tomorrow 6:15 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And Friday, we have 10:45 a.m. to 12 p.m. So please, 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 please be at one of these meetings. It's going to be very important for our school moving forward. Might I remind you that this report will be conducted and this information will be what our next president uses to enact some of our policies that impact all of us. So please, very serious. That is all for me.
I just want to first start this off by saying how proud I am of the work that you all are doing. When I listen to your commission reports, I see a body that is incredibly integrated into the student body as a whole. I see a tremendous amount of work being done both within and outside of the Senate. The body that we have today is wholly unrecognizable from the body that we had a year ago. So I just want to remind you all that you all should be proud of yourselves. And I also want to thank you all for the work that you are doing on behalf of the students of this university. I do not feel that we recognize or thank you all enough for the time commitment that this is. And there's not a lot of thanks that goes into this often. So thank you all for your contributions. I also wanted to give a brief reminder that discussion is an incredibly valuable aspect of what this body does. Discussion allows for the sharing of ideas, allows for points of clarification to be made, and brings awareness of any issues or discrepancies within the legislation that we discuss. All discussion is valuable and worthwhile, and I encourage you all to continue to engage in respectful dialogue with each other and also the wider student body as you move about your positions and also your roles as students. And with that, that's the end of my report. It's pretty short today.
Mine's kind of medium sized, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm gonna try to rush it. I mean, what a meeting so far. So I also had an amazing time at the Ohio Student Government Summit. Like, listening and interacting with schools from across Ohio was an amazing experience to learn, engage with leadership development activities, and also share some of the amazing things that you all are doing, like bragging heavily about y'all. So that was really amazing. But this engagement also gave me the opportunity to, again, think about all the things that we've been able to accomplish this year. And I simply could not help but brag, but we're fulfilling gaps on campus that others are taking an example to. And to that, I'm extremely proud. So the theme of the summit was evolve, empower, and elevate. And I want you all to truly take time to think about what that means to you, and especially regarding your journey here at Ohio University. But I want to go over some trip final costs. We actually end up underspending, which is good. So for the hotel, in total, we spent $518.64. For conference registration, that was a total of $320. For the van rental, we have $130, but for miles, that is $237.77 at 59 cents per mile. For gas, $98.07. And for food, $250.66. So the total projected trip cost was $1,884, but we spent $1,555.14. The food and the hotels were the only things that were purchased on my P card while on the trip, but the gas was purchased like utilizing a gas card that is provided by Parking Services. However, that amount has not been posted to the account yet, so it won't reflect in the numbers tonight. But nothing was spent out of my discretionary, and we came in under budget. We will also be buying 6 tickets for the I-Day dinner for my discretionary. Those tickets will go to the International Affairs Student Affairs Commission and a few members of the leadership team. That's 6 tickets at $15 per ticket, for a total of $90. And now, the numbers.
You should have a sound. Yeah.
For the Senate total, we have $39,794.71. Allocated not spent, $12,558.30. Not allocated nor spent, $27,236.41. For the SAC total, we have $163,268.59. Sorry, y'all. For SPOT, we have $163,016.33, and for the U Fund, $252.36. And these numbers are true and accurate to the best of my knowledge. And with that, that is the end of my report.
Good evening, everybody. In the interest of time, it's going to be short. Please clock your office hours, submit your reports by midnight, and keep the office clean. If you have any programming coming up, please take pictures and send flyers so that our historian can submit them to the archives. We're going to be doing that at the end of the semester. Thank you for passing my 2 legislations tonight. It's really going to help clarify the RFP. And to reiterate what Commissioner Lewis said, take the dopamine hit that you're going to get from being outside tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. So absolutely take advantage of it. And that's the end of my report.
2 things, town hall, more information to come, get excited, graphic will be sent out soon, and then send me photos, phone numbers in the minutes. Thank you guys, have a great day.
I don't think I can do quicker than PR Director Sarver, but JP is still accepting applications for associate justices, and our application is open on our Bobcat Connect page. Election applications are also open on JP's Bobcat Connect page. If you have any questions or issues about the application or elections in general, please let me, Chief Justice Starkey, or Graduate Assistant Padilla know as soon as possible so we can help you. The signatures necessary to run, 75 for exec positions and 25 for every other one, will need to be turned in with the rest of your application that is once again available on our Bobcat Connect page. There is a template available, but also feel free to make your own. Just make sure you get those signatures and emails. In order to not be considered a write-in, please make sure you are also registering at CIC, which is on the 3rd floor of Baker, and submitting the application on JP's Bobcat Connect page. Without both of those, you will not be an official candidate and may not be able to participate in election events such as debates. So our last election info session was this past Monday, but also, once again, please ask me questions whenever I'm here to help you all. And also with RMP changes, I've been loving helping people. If you guys have any, let me know. I make the time and I will be there to help you. And that's the end of my report.
It's my turn, right? Part of the lightning round. To Commissioner Handel, Women's Affairs Commission. I was impressed by all of you, by your advocacy, by your turnout, and I'm looking forward to seeing the outcomes.
I can't not say how proud I am of Commissioner Handel and all of the students who spoke out tonight and sponsored this bill. You may not know, I started my career as a sex educator. In 1994, I taught my first puberty workshop for mothers and daughters. And it's amazing to me to see how far we have come talking about this, celebrating it, and advocating for change. And so it just makes me feel really warm and fuzzy inside. So very proud. The only other thing I'd mention is that I'm glad President Shoulders mentioned the listening sessions, second that. And then there's going to be another opportunity for your input and voice to be heard when we have the presidential search is coming to the point where we're going to know about our finalists, and there'll be opportunities for students to engage with candidates. And I'm going to continue to keep encouraging that because I think you are really important in this process and should be a part of it. And that's the end of my.
Okay, I just have one announcement for the body this evening. I want to say that I am very proud of all of the work that y'all have done, and I'm just astonished every single day. With that being said, it is bittersweet for me to announce that I have been offered a full-time position on campus, meaning that I will be leaving the graduate assistantship position and will no longer be your DA anymore. My start date for that is March 7th, so you have me for 2 weeks. But let me assure you, reassure you, so I'm trying to get choked up. Let me reassure you that I will literally be down the street from Chubb Hall, and there is still some discussion to make sure I'm still providing my support to all of you when it comes to elections and any other miscellaneous tasks that you may need. But in terms of me actually being in the office and being more present, that will be reduced as I will be starting my full-time position. I just want to let you all know now, so that in 2 weeks you don't question where the hell is Nate. Nate is at their other job. But I just want to be transparent with all of you, and I'm really gonna miss being in the office. So we have me for 2 more weeks, so let's make it a fun one. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I appoint Emily Zeiler as president for Tempor. Nate.
In executive session, please explain what a no confidence vote is.
Of course. So today we will be conducting the vote of no confidence, which pretty much means if you guys weren't here last semester, you all have the chance to decide for a vote if each of our executive officers are fit to stay in office. So voting will go, yeah means you, so if you vote yay, yeah, whatever, that means you have no confidence in them. If you vote nay, you do have confidence. If you are unsure again, just let me know, I will repeat it.
Will the chief of staff please call roll?
President Shoulders.
Present.
Vice President Cooley.
Present.
Treasurer Robinson.
Present.
Commissioner DeMonte. Senator Handel. Senator Core. Senator Phelps. Senator Thomas. Commissioner Bargner.
Present.
Senator McMullen. Commissioner Hips. Commissioner Gordillo.
Present.
Senator Lopez. Commissioner Gillett.
Here.
Senator Vicasio.
Do we record this?
Senator Raza.
Do we record this?
Commissioner Parker. Senator Lightning. Senator Morris.
Present.
Senator Ayurvende. Commissioner Zarbaugh. Senator Robinson. Commissioner Lewis.
Present.
Senator Tandon. Senator Farmer. Senator Davis.
Present.
Commissioner Handel. Senator Spinner
Thank
Smith.
you.
Senator Huntsman. Senator Wolf. Commissioner Ajay. And then Executive Justice Silent. Present.
I'm going to pass out the forms.
Yeah, all right, it's on here. So I think.
Cool. I'm going to pass out the forms. Please vote.